Hey everybody. So this ad here specifically is talking about podcasts. I started my podcast and I found Anchor. Anchor has been a wonderful way for me to be able to express myself and get everything out there, and it gives it out to the most amount of platforms. So a couple of the key points here about Anchor. If you haven't heard about, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Number one, it's free. It doesn't cost you a dime to get started. Interface is really, really good. There's creation tools that allow you to record, edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer, whatever it is you need to do. Sometimes I'm on a plane. I can go ahead and record stuff even without a data connection. It will save, and then I can upload it later. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, really anywhere. It'll take it to wherever you need to go. You can make money on your podcast with no minimum listenership. See, that's a big one because, everybody wants to be Joe Rogan. We all can't be Rogan. But we do want to make a little bit to try to cover our costs of delivering this kind of information. I feel like we're doing a lot of great content, and you can too. So you can get yours started. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. So what you need to do is download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. So in your Google Play Store or your iTunes Store, whatever it is, Anchor, ANCHOR. Get that thing downloaded. It's got a little blue icon with like an antenna on it, and it's great. I love Anchor. It's been fantastic. Today we sit down with Bull and Chad Clark. It's an amazing episode. Really two of the greatest people I've ever met in my entire life. Just amazing folks that give back all the time. This episode has been brought to you by Gorilla Strength Equipment. Some of the best custom and stock stuff you can possibly get. I've known David Dennis up there for a couple of years now. He's made all of my equipment for me. Always going above and beyond to make things happen. Really just an incredible guy who loves doing R&D, making stuff, production line, whatever it is. If it's fitness related, man, he can make it. And your only limitation is your imagination, because he can think of just about anything up there. Gorilla Strength Equipment, it's far superior to anything else that I've ever used in my 15 years of strongman experience. And the fact that I'm at a show about every weekend and see the quality of equipment people are using, constant training, wear and tear, it's absolutely superior to all other brands that are out there. So if you need some strongman equipment, if you need some gym equipment, if you need new grip equipment, if you need grip equipment that you have fixed, get it over to David and definitely make that happen. Gorilla Strength Equipment. All right, everybody. We're back for episode 4 of the H2O cast. And today I've got a very special episode planned for you guys. We have Bull and the famous Chad Clark sitting down with us.
So somebody's a comedian.
Yeah, it's Chad. Chad is a comedian, absolutely. So I just want to jump right into it with you guys. We've been hanging out pretty much all day already. A lot of good stories have been told. We just might need to retell them so everybody else can hear them. So, Chad, if you could, just tell us what you got coming up. How many shows you got, how many trips you got, because you're all over the freaking place. You drove all the way to Kentucky just to come help with a tiny 8-man show and to hang out with me and come see Bull. So I feel very honored for that reason, and I thank you for being here.
Yeah, man.
So,
of course.
What do you got coming up here in the near future?
Can I drop the F-bomb?
Oh, you can say fuck all you want.
Okay. First of all, it's an honor to be here because I'm sitting here with one of my fucking legends and hero, Bull, who I often forget his real name, but I do know it's Chris Griffin. But it's just cool. And I get sidetracked, dude. I'm not good at this type of stuff. For me, it's just an honor to just sit here and be with two of my good friends. We've been friends for years. You're like a brother to me. Bull's somebody who I look up to and respect. Really beyond words and comprehension for all that he's done. Not only being a friend to me, but in strength sports and helping others. And he's somebody I look up to a lot. Looked up to his role model and stuff. And you too, with all you do, for your passion for string sports and always giving back and stuff. Even like with the log lift yesterday, even though it was a small competition, it was a blast. And to me, that's sometimes the grassroots type stuff's the best. That's where I have the most fun. I thought it was really cool that you offered up $1 per pound for the biggest log lift. As you know, what we were just talking about, my chant all day was take Dave's money.
Which is good.
Yeah.
Makes everybody strong.
Yeah, but it's like, things like that, it's just cool to see. It's cool knowing how passionate you are and how willing you are, to give back to the sport. And to me, everything goes in cycles and stuff. So when I see that, and being surrounded by people like you and Bull, it really just makes me want to work harder and do more, kind of follow in y'all's footsteps, so to speak.
Good. Now I just need you to work harder and get a better phone.
My phone's a piece of doo-doo, man.
It really is. So what do you got set up for the next several weeks, as far as what you got going on? I know you got Green Hill that's coming up. What other shows do you have that you're going to be at, so people can make sure that they make it there and get their lovely thumbs up photo with the great Chad Clark.
Thumbs up for life, man.
That's right.
Thumbs
up photo.
Hey, man, as we all know, unfortunately, life is way too short, and that's kind of one of the reasons why I do the things I do. Life's short, man. You gotta go out there and fucking live it. Never be afraid to tell people you love them. I love both of y'all, man. You know that. So you pat me down, man. I'm making too much noise with my hands, man.
It's like at the table.
Oh, sorry. Well, this has been a good podcast for a lot of laughs for people, I imagine.
Oh, for sure. It'll be good for all of that.
But I get wound up, man. I get very passionate when I talk about strength and friends and things like that. But coming up, a lot of Strongman Corporation events. I'm very proud to be the state chair for them for Virginia. Very proud to be able to help out the promoters there in the state. I'll be Noble Strongest Man. I lose track of some of the dates because it's so much that kind of runs together. I'll be at Bruce Strength Gym in Norfolk. I think that's the weekend the 10th of August.
Okay.
Be there with them. Huge shout out to Stella. Stella does so much stuff for all string sports, not just strongman, but all string sports right there in the state of Virginia. The next weekend, I go up to Northern Virginia to a Noble Strongest Man. I think that's the second annual on that, so looking forward to that. Always a good time there. And then I have Green Hill Highland Games, August 24th, which ironically, the hardest day I'll work all year is also my birthday. So awesome. No days off, man.
So tell us about Green Hill. How much work really goes into a Highland Games? Because I know we have some Highland guys that are fans of the podcast here. We have a lot that have no idea what Highland Games is. I'm still fuzzy on it, and I've been to several shows and seen it, and I'm still like, wait, what? What are you guys doing? Why? Huh? But it draws in a great crowd. Every Highland Games I go to, you see a lot of different kinds of people. So tell us a little bit more about that show and what all goes into it.
A lot goes into it. I'll just tell you this. I mean, if you're a event promoter, and all of us here understand, but for people out there that don't, you really never stop working. It's a one-day event that you work 365 days a year on in some form or fashion. Maybe that fashion may be just going out, meeting people, making contacts. But you always have something back in your mind. It's like, hey, what can I do to make this event better for the athletes? Green Hill's a little odd in the fact that I have really no funding. So I have to get really creative every year. I've always refused to charge the public money for it. A lot of people say that I could or I should, but I'm from small town Roanoke, Virginia, and I'm very proud to be from there. So to me, to be able to do things like that and to give back to my community, it means a lot. Also with that, it also serves as a fundraiser for a veterans charity, Warrior 360. And every time I mention the Highland Games, the event that I run, my father, who I do a lot of things, guys, a tribute to him. And Green Hill Highland Games, although I started running it when he was still alive, once he passed, I always knew that I'd always wanted to do something as a charity event. And then that just really inspired me to really kind of take it to the next level and raise money for veterans. My dad was a vet. Also again, he did lots of charity work. At the time, I was working at a VA hospital. My wife works at a VA hospital. My sister put in 30 years there. So for me, I just saw it as a chance to be able to give back, not just community, but to veterans in need as well. And then as times went on, it just keeps growing. We're our 11th year now. And one of the proudest things I am of my accomplishments is last year we were able to add a women's elite class. And the whole premise of that is, unfortunately, you have these amazing female athletes. They're literally fucking world-class athletes out there, right? But they have nowhere to go past, they have no pro class. There's no higher level to aspire to, which I feel is unfortunate. So last year I was able to put out, just kind of a feeler like, hey, who would be willing to donate to this so we can make it happen? And there's other games that do it. I'm definitely not the first, but I really want to see if I could accomplish it, to help them out. And again, and when you know these athletes, you know what amazing, not only athletes they are, but some of these people are just the best people you're ever going to meet. We all, try to surround ourselves with people like that. And if you ever meet these women, you would feel the same way. Like, wow, man, so-and-so is the coolest. Oh, and by the way, they're one of the most amazing athletes in the world. But anyway, in a nutshell, last year we raised money to have 6 female athletes get paid the same as the men. I felt that was very important. If you're going to do for one, you do the exact same thing for the other. It's fair. If you hear me knock around for people out there, I'm knocking on the table. I talk with my hands. So Dave keeps telling me to not knock the table, but
I just feel like if you were a public speaker, you'd be slamming on the top of it like Hitler, and screaming at everybody. Just, blah, blah, blah.
We gotta get a pad.
It's not
Give him a towel or something.
It's not anger though. But I just talk with my hands because to me, like, these things I'm passionate about. So
Right.
Well, I'm glad. I'm not a social media guy, but because of social media, women are finally starting to get the recognition.
Oh, it's
I
love it, man.
I mean, without that platform and that forum to be able to show what they are accomplishing, because some of the baddest women on the planet, nobody knew, up until social media was able to come out and they were able to show the world that, hey, look, we're here too.
Yeah.
And that's it.
And so many of those people, inspire me and stuff. And going back to women, especially in Highland Games, if you have a crowd, and the crowd for the most part, depending on the region you're in, doesn't really necessarily know a whole lot about what's going on in the field.
Sure.
But they know when something goes really, really high and when something goes really, really far. And to have a woman doing it is even more impressive.
Sure.
So the crowd loves it. So to me, if you think about it, it's just a more natural fit, actually.
I agree.
So, Bull, when are because I know you got a lot of stuff coming up this next couple weeks. When are you leaving for Relentless?
Thursday.
This coming Thursday.
Yeah, I got to get up there to handle Chris Miller, and he's taking. He's going to lift in my stead. And he took over my Hope kid, Danny. He's gonna jump up and lift for me because I can't do it no more. And he's gonna do awesome. He's been working hard. He's fighting through an injury right now, but he's not gonna quit on the kids. He's got it in his head. He's going no matter what. I don't care if we got to go up and duct tape him back together. He's gonna get his lifts in.
Absolutely.
Hey man, real quick on that subject. I've said a million times on my own Facebook page and social media and stuff. All the people that are involved in Relentless and all the athletes that go up there and help out and stuff, y'all are my heroes, dude. I'm serious. It's like all the respect in the world for what y'all do for those kids. I just think it's amazing. And I'll always be a fan, of that event. I may be watching it from afar, but just know I'm always pulling for y'all, and all the respect in the world for those people that are involved in that organization.
Scott Nutter and Mike and them, they do amazing. The work that they put in, this countless and selfless hours. It's not easy to put on a meet this big. You're talking about a 3-day meet with, right at 170 lifters, and but there's nothing like I said it in the last podcast, and I mean it. I've been on a lot of big stages with a lot of big lifters, but there was nothing like looking out into that crowd and having them kids be on the stage in front of you and stuff, and just, you know, they all just want high fives and knuckle bumps, and, you know, and they don't care what's on the bar. And, you know, and I didn't either. I was like, just load it. I don't care. I'm going to pick it up. I mean, whatever it is, we ain't quitting on this today. Believe me.
How could you, man?
Yeah. I mean, no, we're definitely going to make this work. And they motivate you in a way that is, unfathomable. I mean, I sent Dave put a picture up of me getting ready to knuckle bump this kid and him reaching out, and it's just a beautiful image, and I'm so glad that, you know, somebody caught it and sent it to me. It's one of the most amazing things it is, because it's almost like the Wonder Twins getting ready to bump fists, you know. And, you know, we're out there, and, you know, my arms outstretched and his arms outstretched, and that is one mental picture that I will never forget the rest of my life. Because, I mean, I was miserable last year at Relentless. I mean, so much pain, but it was like, you know, I know we didn't say it then. We didn't. We hid it very well. You know, we tried to hide it so the kids wouldn't see it. But they was, I don't know. It was the most motivating thing that I've ever done. You know, I mean, and I've been fortunate enough to do it a few times, and I can't say enough for the honor getting asked. I mean, it was amazing. So I heard you have a Relentless story.
I do, man. I've been dying to tell this thing for forever.
Dave keeps telling him to stop. He's like, no, wait.
Yeah, Dave's been like, save that story for the podcast. Well, podcast, here it is. So, you know, you never know where you find and draw inspiration from. You know, and so many different things out there inspired me. You know, I remember the first time, I think it was on one of the old Elite FTS was doing a feature on Scott Nutter and Relentless and all that. And I saw that. I was like, immediately I fell in love with the whole idea, the concept, the purpose, everything about it. And then I said, you know, and I was already, you know, kind of started, I was just getting my feet wet running events and stuff. And I said, you know, if they can do it, I can do it. And ever since then, every event I've ever ran has always had some type of charitable component. But just reading that one article and seeing that one interview with them changed like my whole concept of doing events and my whole mindset on so many things. And it was just, I've always been a fan of Elite FTS. I was just reading, just another day at work, probably on a computer that should have been on. That was back when I worked for the government. And, but that one article, it just hit me hard. And seeing that, hey, we can all make impacts on things, whether people realize it or not. And like I said, just changed my whole mindset. It's like, all right, it's like, from now on, here's how I'm going to do my events. And this is, this is how I'm going to go about it. Yeah. And like I said, it was just, again, all the respect in the world for Relentless, but, they really changed the way, my way of thinking about doing events.
That's good, because the way you've done things is amazing. I mean, you were making jokes a while ago about getting a thumbs up picture with Chad. I don't believe you actually made it in sports, in strength sports, until you had a picture of a thumbs up with Chad. It's like, I'm finally one of the cool kids now. I get to be beside Chad Clark, put my thumb up. Now I can, I can die now. I'm good. I can end it. This is. I've reached the pinnacle of all awesomeness now.
Oh, you're the man, boy.
It's reached a point with the thumbs up picture that every time I take a picture with somebody, which is not very often, I don't do pictures very often. I don't take them. I don't try to get them. But when I do take a picture, they take one, and I go, wait. I'm going to get a Chad Clark picture.
You got to get a Chad Clark picture.
Because then everybody puts their thumbs up, and then I get a copy of it, and I just send it to Chad. So that way he has a copy of at least that memory, and that's what he does. So for you to do the pictures, that's important to you, and I admire that. I appreciate it, and I love it. I don't do them, but I'll do them for you.
Yeah.
So the podcast is my pictures.
Yeah.
The conversations with you guys. This is the whole reason why I do any of this shit. It's to know people like you guys. That's what this is all about. Being good, be good at it. That's what it's all about. So I appreciate you guys being here. It means the world to me. But I just wanted to kind of caveat on that to show you that we understand your pictures, and for the love of God, get a new phone.
Yeah. But real quick, so with you, the podcast, the recorded conversations is, that's your thing. And you know, I mean, both you guys here know, and just so everybody else out there knows, you know, when I see my friends, I'm always like, hey, I want a picture. Kind of like how, I just said about the whole relentless thing. You can find inspiration from anywhere you go. You know, for me, that one to lead the FTS article changed my whole way of thinking for, over a decade plus now. Well, what a lot of people may or may not know is, I love my home gym so much. Don't tell my wife that. But to me, it's not just a place of training and a place to put in the work and to get stuff done, but everything has a meaning, and so to me, it started out with flags on the walls, and at one time each flag represented, this is to represent, say, my friends in Iceland, or this is to represent my Polish friends, or this is to represent my friends from New Zealand and Australia. And then people started sending me some flags, and it just kind of grew from there. And then I started putting pictures up everywhere. And to me, when I take pictures of my friends, that just, when I put that stuff on the wall, it's nothing but fond memories. And it's also the reason that keeps me doing and involved in strength sports. Because that's my motivation. It's like, I love strength sports, but I love my friends and family so much. So, when I put those pictures on the wall, like the picture we took today was me, Dave, you, Bull, and Shorty, Bull's wife. We damn straight. As soon as I get home, man, I'm going over to Walgreens, get that thing, getting that puppy printed out, and bam, right there on the wall with the rest of my friends, because
we also might need to get you a printer at home. Because who the hell goes to Walgreens anymore to print out anything?
They all know me at Walgreens, man. But to me, that means something, and that's important. And, it all goes back to, I say this stuff all the time, it's like the Beatles song, I get by with a little help from my friends. There's another line to that too, but we won't go into that. But, really, it's the people involved in strength sports, that do it for me. It's the travel. Another thing I always tell people is like, man, it's like, you go to, like, say, your average gym, and you see all these strong kids, and they'll never leave that gym. I'm always, I train at home now, so I'm not out in, like, public gyms and stuff, but I used to always be like, man, it's like, why don't you compete? It's like, why don't you try powerlifting, why don't you try strongman, or any type of strength sport? And, they always give you some type of crap story. I'm like, look, man, it's like, dude, it's like, here's what you're going to find out. It's like, one, you're going to learn a whole lot about yourself, because you're going to be putting yourself out there on the line, and then two, you're going to travel, so you're going to see some cool stuff. And then I was like, dude, it's like, you will meet the absolute coolest people that will become your best friends and family for years and years and years to come down the road. And they will be the only people out there that really understand and get you, because the only people that understand, like, the things that we do and our passions and what drives us is people that do the exact same thing. So a lot of people have a hard time understand that. Fortunately, all my friends are like-minded, so y'all get it.
That's how we become your friends, because if we weren't like-minded, we'd be those people you unfollow on Facebook. So I won't name any of those folks, but there are certain people that you're friends with on Facebook. You just unfollow, don't want to see the bullshit you had to say anymore. We're still friends, yeah, but I don't want to hear from you or talk to you or deal with you ever at all. My list is slowly growing. It just keeps on.
But I haven't met anybody who didn't like Chad. I know a lot of people who don't like you. But Chad, but everybody loves Chad. So
it's hard not to love Chad. It really is.
I was so excited when I found out he was coming up. I was like, finally, he never gets to come down here. This is great.
Hey man, there's no way it's not gonna come down here and not come see you, man.
Well, I appreciate it. Eventually, we're going to make it up to Virginia for something. I don't know what, but it might be a Highland Games.
Going back to things like that too. A lot of things that I've tried to incorporate, like, ever since I met you, is, again, I call it taking, finding inspiration in different places, or, little nuggets of wisdom that you get from people here and there. And there's tons of people to name, but just the way you go about taking care of your athletes and stuff, that really changed the way that I thought about doing things. It's like, hey man, it's like, I need to be more like Bull. You know, I really like, you know, how you put so much high priority on others, you know, and their success and stuff. And that's something, you know, I told you before, I really admire and respect. That's one of the things, whenever I'm working with athletes, I try to incorporate that as well, you know, to like, you know, be better, you know, be more there for them, and do all that you can do. It's not just being a coach.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you're a sounding board. Sometimes you may be a parental figure. Maybe a lot of things, but you're never just a coach. You know,
you turn it, if you're good at being a coach, I think, you know, you can look at the person who walks into the gym that day and know, all right, look, I know we wrote this down, but where'd your head at today? You know, we got to sit down. And you got to take time to know people. And the thing about this is, you know, I kept saying it the last time we talked about this, but I say it constantly. You know, somebody who taught me who didn't have to. And, you know, and so because of that, I feel like it's a responsibility to give somebody else what somebody gave me. And that is 25 years of an amazing friendship, confidence. You know, the things that I've gotten out of lifting has done more for me than I ever did for it. And, you know, and that was given to me because somebody saw me and saw something, saw some potential and took time to help.
Yeah,
Didn't charge me a dime, just, you know, I mean, just, he made it. And, you know, I mean, I know you hadn't heard the story they had, if anybody listened the last time. They, you know, I said, the first thing the guy who taught me how to lift told me was, son, you'd be hell if you knew how to lift. And I was like, old sucker, I just benched 365. And, you know, but because he stopped and said that, he got me motivated. And then he come out and he pushed me and he stayed with me till he died.
Wow.
And, you know, and so that was it. That was what, that gave me a basis of how I wanted to do things from that point on. So now everybody I meet, I'm like, man, they're like, you know, I want to be, I'm like, good, I'm going to help. You know, because I want you to be better. I want you to be the best out there. I want you to be the best that you can.
I mean, that's such a great high, man. You know, seeing somebody that you've worked with, seeing them succeed and be successful. You know, I've got more joy and stuff out of seeing people that I've worked with be successful than I ever did any of my own competitions.
Oh, guaranteed.
You know, I mean, a million times more, man.
Watching somebody hit a squat that you know they have worked so hard to get, and they've missed it 50 times, and you go for it on a third because you're just like, screw it, ball's out, we're going to find out what happens. And they hit it because, you know, the energy of the meet, you know, I mean, there's something about, you know, getting under the platform, hearing the music, hearing your name, the bars loaded, all the excitement, and then all that work comes down to that one moment. And, you know, and that's when the pressure's on. That's when, you know, you find out, you know, it separates the men from the boys. You know, it's like, I'm going to step up and lift when it counts. I'm going to make this happen. And then you watch them as they hit that lift and they turn around and their, you know, fists are up and they're all jacked up. And you're like, I know what went into that moment.
Exactly.
You know, he has been waiting so much. He's worked so hard for that moment and he's in it. And, you know, you just can't help but get excited.
And no one would understand that more than the athlete competing and whoever's coaching them.
Yeah.
In that case, you. Yeah. You know.
It's the most amazing thing for me. That has always been one of the best things. And I get real invested into the people that I work with. You know, I mean, I took Michael Holt to Worlds in Vegas, like back in like 2000 and I don't know, 14, 15, 16. I don't remember. It was a long time ago. And we were down there, and there was a discrepancy in the rules. All right, and we were talking about raw lifters lifting in sleeves or not. And I went and talked to one of the head official. Dude was from Ireland. He was a really nice guy. And I was like, you know, I said, I can understand a lot of the rules being different and stuff. And I said, but I don't understand why, you know, y'all won't let a raw lifter wear sleeves. And he goes, well, what do you mean, laddie? And I was like, well, you know, they said you can't wear sleeves. And he goes, oh, yes, you can. As long as they're a certain diameter, you can wear them. And I was like, are you serious? And he said, yeah, go get them. I measured them. And I was like, all right. So, you know, I went and I'm like, Mikey, get your sleeves. And, you know, and Mikey went and got his sleeves, and then he come back and he put his sleeves on. Well, we go up to deadlift, start walking up to the platform, and the lady was from Poland. So when you said Poland a while ago, this story popped into my head.
Yeah.
And she turned around and she goes, no sleeves, no sleeves. I'm like, no, he can wear them. Head dude over there said he could. And she goes, no sleeves. And I'm like, look, head dude just said he could. And I said, we measured them. They said it was all right. And she goes, no sleeve, raw lifter. And I'm like, they just said it. She goes, you have 20 seconds. I'm like, Mikey, pull him down. And, and so he pulled him down to his calves. And she goes, not good enough, not on the leg. I said, they can't help him from his calf. And at this point, I'm getting hot. Yeah. At this point. And, and so, because, I mean, I'm a nice guy, but there's a line, and I felt like she was attacking Mikey, and, and he was going through his lift. He was getting ready, and it was big. And then finally, he had to take his shoes off. And then, he pulled his shoes off, pulled the sleeves off his things. And then he ran up to the platform barefoot. And she goes, you have to wear shoes. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? and which you should never yell at a judge in a meet. But at this point, I had it, And so I said, Mikey, put your shoes on. So he just turned around, put his shoes on. No, didn't have time to tie them, didn't do anything. And she's like, 5 seconds. And I was like, and so I looked at her and I said, you're fucking ridiculous. You are so bad at your job. You're the worst judge ever. I don't understand how you can go through life thinking that you can do this good. And, and I said a couple of other things. Well, she was a member of the Polish national team. And I didn't know that. But when I walked to the back into the warm-up room after the lift was over with, I was met by the Polish powerlifting team at that point, and one of their dudes was pissed. You yelled at, her, said her name and stuff. And I was like, yeah, she didn't know what she was doing. And he goes, you not disrespect my teammate again. And at this point in time, I was ready to throw hands. I said, well, bitch, do something. And thank God there was a few other people from the U.S. came running up, and I was like, yeah, I just got tougher. I mean, I was ready to get beat up. So somewhere, I'm afraid to go to Poland now, because I honestly believe, somewhere in like a post office, there's a picture of me. Like, if you see this dude, we're beating him down. Because I mean, they take string sports serious over there. So
Hey, I'm supposed to be there in November, so I would not shut them down.
You don't know me. Definitely don't bring it up.
I will not wear my Bull Strong shirt in Poland.
Don't say, hey, do you know a guy in a cowboy hat? That comes to these meets.
So next time you meet Mateos, just don't mention Bull.
No, I will not mention Bull's name in most parts of Eastern Europe from now on, I guess.
It was bad. I have never in my life ever disrespected a judge or been loud in a meet, and I was so mad at that thing, because I mean, we took Mikey from a 14-year-old 97-pound kid to 148-pound world champion who was on the 6th all-time list for 624 squat.
Wow.
Yeah, at Raw at 148.
Wow,
man. He's one of the baddest kids that ever walked on the planet, and and so, but I loved this kid like he was my son. So when she started picking on him, I got mad. I mean, she could have made fun of me. She could have called me everything in the book. Said my mama made bad biscuits.
Anything but your athlete.
Yeah, but don't get on my boy now. I'm fixing to get mad.
4 times body weight. That's impressive.
Yeah, he's a strong kid. He's a really strong kid, and do anything he wants to. I mean, he can step on a bodybuilding stage in like 3 weeks, and he looks good. He works out, but he's strong as all get out. And then he graduated college, and he started a big boy job, and he's in the corporate world, and he's really doing. Boy's gonna do big things. Love him to death. Good kid.
Yeah, kind of like on that story. I've been involved in Moss Wrestling for a couple of years. Mm-hmm. And this is 2 years ago now, Dave, I went to Hungary. Yeah, I have no concept of time.
All the years run together. Yeah.
Every day runs into a weekend, every weekend runs into a month, every month runs into a year.
But I'll be there in 5 minutes, y'all. Trust me.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do that story. Yeah.
But again, I'm very fortunate that I'm involved in Moss Wrestling. I've been very fortunate to be friends with Ode Haugen for a lot of years. Again, another man who I look up to, respect, admire, for a whole lot of reasons, not just what he's accomplished as an athlete, although that's absolutely amazing too. But anyway, we had a trip to Hungary with Moss Wrestling, and Ode had a previous commitment. And he's like, Chad, do you want to take the athletes over? And that was the first time, like I'd been on trips, overseas before, but it never been in the capacity where it's like, all right, these are your children, this is your flock, you take care of everything.
Yes.
So from like getting visa paperwork squared away, the whole 9 yards, that was all on me. And, man, like I said, work with those, I had a group of 5 athletes that I went over there with. And, man, you just love them like they're your children.
Yeah, oh, definitely.
And the thing is, like, we bonded so tight, on that trip. And a lot was due to everything bad that could have happened. Tibor Kiss, who some people may know from the world of strongman. He's also a very good Hungarian Highland Games athlete. Used to come over from Moss Wrestling and the Highland Games every year at the Arnold. Great guy. Well, it just so happened his son at the opening ceremony used to be the one that carried out the little sign that said USA. Mm-hmm. I thought, oh, this is perfect. This is Tibby's kid. How awesome is this? It's like, what are the odds be that I know this person's child?
Sure.
Well, right before the end of the opening ceremony, Tibby's kid had a seizure and dropped out.
Oh,
just
my goodness.
Fell right there on the stage. So, I don't have kids of my own, but I could only imagine how he felt. And it just really rocked me to my core. So I'm like, oh, wow, this is not a good omen. I can't remember how the rest of the day kind of played out. I remember my good friend Tom Schroka.
Very good guy, by the way. Yeah.
Tom's the fucking best.
Yeah.
Tom, if you ever listen to this, I fucking love you, dude. You're somebody else that inspires me too, because I know a few people that work as hard at what they do as what he does. But that'd be a whole different long story on that. Tom, on his opening match, and we had really high expectations of him because he's such a great athlete. Mm-hmm. Immediately just tore his hamstring.
Oh.
So it's like, is it going to get worse? Yes, it was. Because that was the beginning. The next round for one of our girls, Ariel Burek. A lot of people out there may not know Ariel. I love her to death.
Tiny hands.
Very tight.
Tiny hands. Biggest heart out there of any athlete I know, man. Mm-hmm. Don't let her fool you. Her heart is huge. Well, her first match was against the reigning world champion. So, so there, unfortunately, she lost. So, Ari one knock on us there. Next up, we had Nicole Hyam. And if anybody knows Nicole, or maybe if you don't, she has one amazing story. She's very young. Nicole's in her early 20s. I love her like she was on my own child. Real quick story on that. I'm not what you would call a religious person by any means, but I tell you what, man, I've lit like prayer candles for her at the National Cathedral, in Orthodox churches, right outside Red Square. Just, hey, wherever I think it takes, at the time she was battling cancer when we were over there.
Yeah.
She stopped her chemo to go and compete. And Nicole, I probably ought to choke you because I didn't know how bad, she was. Nobody told me how bad she was, until like way after the fact. Her first match, she got pulled hard into the board, jacked her knee up, was coughing up blood. All bad.
Yeah.
It does get better.
It does.
Story. Anyway, as the day progressed on into the next day, 3 of the athletes that I took over there all medaled in podium.
Awesome.
And it was my 3 female athletes I took. I'd never been prouder of three girls in all my life for their accomplishment. And literally, I got another picture on my wall.
Another picture, yeah.
And I'm not ashamed to say, but it's me basically just bawling my eyes out because I was so proud to see them be successful, and I knew how much it meant to all of them. And we went through all this stuff together, bad experiences and stuff, and then in the end, they still had the heart to pull it out. Get up on that medal podium, and that was one of my proudest moments. That was the first time that I'd ever been in charge of a group like that, and I loved it.
Yeah.
It's like, You know, now it's like, man, sign me up. It's like, I'll take athletes wherever, you know.
And that's why people will love you forever.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
they will. I mean,
And, you know, like I said, man, you know, I mean, next year, 2020, I'll be going to Cole's wedding. You know, I mean, we'll be friends. You know, we'll be bonded for, you know, the rest of our lives, man.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, everybody that went on that trip will be. You know, it was a learning experience on so many different levels.
it's awesome, man. I would love to go over there one time with y'all and just watch.
Oh, it's a blast, man. And, you know, again, we were talking earlier, just the different cultures between Eastern Europe and here in North America. Dave, you've been to some stuff over there, but you know, here when you're involved in string sports, the way I kind of see people's views, opinions on things is, hey, you're just part of the freak show. You know, oh, you lift weights, you do this,
Yeah.
whatever. You go to Eastern Europe, it's a total different mindset. You know, we were fortunate enough to take also another group of athletes with Moss Wrestling to Yakutsk, Russia. I think that was last year, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. Yeah, last year. Again, no concept of time. But you know, we walked out into a hall on event day, packed over 3,000 people, and these people were all cheering and going nuts for all the athletes, from worst to first. Didn't matter. If you're a strength athlete, they respect you. They see you differently. They treat you differently. You know, your sport is your craft. You know, and I just really dig that whole mentality and stuff. You know, it's just, you know, we all work hard at what we do, and this is our passion and stuff. And you know, people in the States, for the most part, I don't think get that.
No,
But,
definitely not.
you know, but over there, I mean, strength is praised and put up on a pedestal, and you know, that's how whenever I get a chance to go to a place like that, I'm like, let's go, man. You know, it's just different mindset, different culture, and that's what I really like.
It's amazing the difference of how much respect they get as to how much over here we get looked at. I mean, I remember like people used to, you know, they look at me and they're like, hey, there's a fat guy. And I tell them what I squat, and they're like, hey, you know, he's fat and strong.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
But over there, you know, you're treated different. I mean, heck, look at sumo wrestlers in Japan.
Oh,
You
they're
know,
national heroes.
Yes, I mean they're looked at as gods over there. It's
yeah,
crazy.
absolutely.
I mean, some of the most popular figures in the world. I mean, they're looked at as like. I remember in boxing, you know, we'd gotten away from how much of a star people used to be when boxing, you know, was at its heyday. I mean, anywhere from Ali. I mean, when Tyson was up and Tyson was just destroying people. I mean, he was one of the most popular people in the world. I mean,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
especially in America. But you go over there, like whoever is, you know, king over there right now is a sumo guy. He's bigger than, you know, the Stones. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
it's crazy how much they get, how the respect they get, and it's awesome that they get that. I wish over here people were more knowledgeable and looked at it differently, and looked at and respected the work that these people put in.
Yeah, man. You know, I feel the same way about things. You know, again, going back to Russia, we went to one of the training halls over there for Moss Wrestling. It wasn't just Moss. It was a multi-sport training hall, but a lot of it was Moss Wrestling. And you walk through the hall, and you would see pictures of, you know, like there's Victor, there's so and so on the wall. And there's people that, you know, I recognize, but they're heroes to that region and to those people. Mm-hmm. You know, that's a huge sense of pride for them to like, hey, you know, we have World Moss Wrestling Champions, so we send, you know, all over the world. And going back on another thing with Moss, that's also a way a lot of people term that as what's called an ethno sport. And I use the analogy of, I'm also obviously involved in Highland Games, so like you talked about. Highland Games is a way of keeping Scottish culture and heritage alive. Mm-hmm. That is their vehicle that they use to bring to the rest of the world to show, hey, this is our culture, this is our heritage. You just talk about sumo wrestling. That's their sense of national pride. You know, that is what's keeping a lot of like Japanese culture and traditions alive. Well, you know what? Moss Wrestling is doing that the same thing in Russia with, again, what they call the Yakutsk people. They're from Sakha Republic in Russia. But that's their way of bringing their culture to the spotlight for the rest of the world to see. Mm-hmm. And it's a very beautiful culture. And a lot of these strength sports, that's their way of bringing, their sense of national pride together, or some ethnic pride, but bring it to the forefront, for the world to see. A lot of people miss out on that concept of string sports. Is a lot of times it's a lot more than just sports.
Sure.
So the way that you guys talk to each other all the time, and the way that we all kind of deal with each other, it's like we've all known each other for 80 years at least.
I mean, we haven't.
Feels like it.
I
don't know about your back, but
I know, because I knew both of you before you guys knew each other. But it feels like it's been 100 years, but it really hasn't. So the first time you guys met was Mammoth and Bowling Green, like 2016.
probably.
I think that was 2016.
I have no concept
No,
of time.
that was 2017.
No, it's been longer than that.
Yeah, because I've only been at that arena for 2 years.
Okay, well, it was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
There you go. I have no concept of
Yeah,
that.
2.5 years ago. So how did that whole thing go down? Because I didn't introduce you guys. I was busy doing strongman. Chad, I was like, man, you got Moss. Have fun. Good luck. And then Bull, I think you were bringing Logan up to do his first ever Moss match.
Right.
To see kind of how that goes. So how did that transpire? Because I didn't get to see it. I wasn't there. So how did that transpire to where you guys got to be best friends?
Well, we were hard at work, Dave, while you were out playing games and having fun.
No doubt. We don't get to do that.
Yeah, I was out having fun promoting and running the show, and 4 different sports at the same time. Yeah, it was just a blast.
I'm just messing with Dave, y'all. If you've ever been to that event, you know how much goes on behind the scenes. But
Yeah, but that sucker rooked me. I mean, I ain't gonna lie. My first year as a judge up there, I mean, just sorry to change the subject, but this is funny. I can't remember the guy's name that I worked with, but you know how you have judges and then you have people to help reset the weight and stuff like that. Well, what's that guy's name? Around the Beast of the Bluegrass?
David McCann.
Dave McCann. There you go. Yeah, me and David were over there working together on the tire flip. I think we had 1,000-pound tires that day, and so they would flip them all the way there, and then we turned around. Me and David did. And there was nobody to put them back. And so the guys, the strawman dude, did all their things. They had to lift it once. Me and David had to flip that sucker every single time all the way back. You rooked me. You brought no help. He's like, man, come judge. I'm like, man, dude, I'm judging, handling, sweating. This is miserable. What are you doing to me?
Well, at least it was January and like 7 degrees outside. So that was at least a little bit help.
And yet I go back every year.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, what are we doing here? Golly. We must like you or something.
Yeah, for whatever reason, you keep coming back.
Well, I just looked up and I saw this big dude with a beard and a kilt, and I was like, he looks cool. He's going to be my friend. And that was what I saw when I saw Chad. So I was like, that's it.
Yeah. So like that day, like I said, I remember somehow or another got introduced and stuff, and then talking, and then next thing you know, we're seeing each other at the Arnold and stuff, and just kind of went on from there. And the odd thing is, I mean, in theory, no, none of us have known each other that long. But again, it goes back to like some people may just hit off with, and it feels like you know them all your life.
Guaranteed.
And that's that just is what it is, and that's a good thing. And again, that just goes back to the real beauty of string sports. And it's not just Moss wrestling, powerlifting. I mean, in my opinion, it goes for all of them.
Sure, I agree. And I mean, in some of I consider y'all great friends.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like if I make a phone call, y'all are coming, and that to me is what really makes a friend, is not the ones who are there when you're high, it's the ones who are there when you're low.
Exactly, man.
And that's what that you don't run across that a lot, and with all the stuff I've been going through.
At least I know Chad's high the majority of the time. So.
I mean, one thing that I found with getting sick and all is I never used to tell people how much I cared about them, and I have stopped that. And that's one thing now, and I wished I would have had that mindset before I got sick.
Yeah.
So you said it earlier about telling people how much you care about them and everything else, and I didn't do that for years, and now I've literally stopped and gone through like my friends list of like the people who meant something to me, and I've never told them. But I'm like, I need to tell you. What you mean.
Oh man, dude, the day you sent me that message on Messenger, fuck man, that hit me like a ton of bricks, man. I mean, I may be a big dude or whatever, but it's like, man, it had me in tears. I'm like, man, this is someone that again, I love like family and stuff.
It's hard, man. It's a hard thing to deal with, but I think if everybody lived life trying to letting all the stupid shit go and focus on the good, everybody get past anything, you know. And I think that if we all did that better, then we wouldn't have near the drama that we do in this world.
No. And, and on that subject, for all like the younger athletes listening, not that I'm old. I mean, I'll be 47 here next month. I still feel great. My mind still says I'm 25. But man, as you age, fortunately or unfortunately, you see a lot of shit. Mm-hmm. And not all it's good. And a lot of it changes your mindset. And then you realize, hey man, all the stuff that you thought was really a big deal really doesn't mean shit.
Really don't matter.
Your friends, your family, your relationships that you have with those people. That's what it's all about at the end of the day. And that's been my my greatest takeaway from strength sports. But I see going back, you see I've worked in healthcare and hospitals and stuff. I've taken care of my dad that has had cancer. He battled it. Man, you see all this stuff again. If you have any type of, what's what I'm looking for, but it's going to change you. And if you're the right type of person, it'll change you for the better. Be like, hey man, you can see it sometimes as a wake up call or just a way to start living your life differently. But that'd be the one thing I stress to anybody that's come up in the sport and stuff. It's like, hey man, have a great ride with it, and make friends. And then when you have good friends, let them know what they mean to you, man. Like, hey man, fucking love you, man. Ain't no shame in that, man.
You might not have a chance again, and that's the thing.
That's exactly it, man. We just had a friend in the Highland Games world. They lost their daughter. She came out to the field and she had thrown stuff. Here one day, gone the next. I mean, it's sad, but that type of stuff does change. And just think about like in our sports, all the people have been like legends and stuff that have really like changed things for the better. All these people are getting old and passing too. Mm-hmm. So it's like I got a chance to only meet Terry Todd one time, but I got to sit there and have story time with him one night for about 15-20 minutes. It was something I'll never forget. To me, people like Terry Todd was not only a legend, but someone that really shaped strength sports and things as the way we know it as today. Yeah. He had a huge influence on all that. Steve Jeck, I continue to go back to Scotland to go lift stones. And Steve Jeck was someone kind of off the subject. You see all this stuff about, the rogue documentary Stoneland. Mm-hmm. Well, you know what? 20 years before that, Steve Jeck and a man named Peter Martin, who pretty much rescued a lot of like Scottish history, they wrote the book of Stones and Strength.
They did, yeah. The literal book, yeah.
Yeah, they literally wrote the book. And I remember being a kid. I say kid, I mean I was in early 20s or whatever, buying that book and literally just daydreaming. Like, oh man, what would it be like to go to Scotland? Oh, I'd love to be able to lift these stones. Well, little did I know that I would stick with it long enough to one day be able to go there and do that stuff myself. But,
that's awesome.
And Steve Jeck passed, again, no concept of time. I can't remember his last year or the year before, to cancer. But I was fortunate to meet him on several occasions. He was a saint of a man. He was someone that always had a kind word for everybody. And I always look back on that, with fond memories and stuff. Sure.
I mean, you talked about Ode Haugen earlier, and it's crazy to me. Something like I gravitate more towards powerlifting, and but not a lot of people know who he is and what all he's done and stuff. And one of the greatest moments of my life was when we was at the Arnold a few years ago, and I'm sitting there drinking whiskey with Ode Haugen. I'm like, this is great. I was like, this is one of my favorite things ever. And to sit down and have a talk with him was huge for me, just because I look up to him so much.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
I mean, in his hands, golly, they're massive. I mean, that boy, he's...
Yeah, and that's the same way, man. For me, I always love seeing a world's strongest man. And the older that we all get to, the more he becomes, or people like him, including him, become more inspirational to me.
True.
It's like, look, man, I think Ode, I know a while back he celebrated his 68th birthday.
He's 69 now.
Yeah, there's no slowing down. We travel, several times a year together, and it's like, look, I'll be the first minute. I can't keep up with Ode. There's not a chance. I'm 20 some years younger than him, and I can't keep up with the guy. But I mean, he's just an amazing person, individual, and does so much for so many different string sports and stuff. Again, I mean, there's a million things to look up to and find inspiration in with the guy.
He really is. And but it's funny though. We don't think about the people that we coached and everything else. But one of these days, they're going to sit around and have talks about us like this, And
hey, man, you know what? If that's the case, then we fucking did our job and left a great legacy, and that's something to be proud of.
I hope they do, because I hope somebody sits around and tells stories about them one day, and as we go down the list. I mean, right now, for a year, I've been coaching this girl named Benita, and she's amazing. But when she first come to us, she was a quarter squat. And she was strong, but she'd never been taught how to properly lift. And then like today, everybody on the team was like, she's hitting it perfect, she's hitting it clean, and I'm like, and then she gets up and she feels good, she feels proud of herself, and I'm like, this is why we do this, man. I mean, this is it. I mean, because there's nothing like most people get into strength sports, and I say this a lot because it's true. I mean, people really get into strength sports for two reasons. Either you were an athlete in high school and you lost that team camaraderie, and you lost that, you didn't have the platform to compete at anything anymore and you still wanted to, or you were a person who was weak and you didn't have friends, and you didn't have, you wasn't looked at as somebody who could be an athlete or who could be strong. And so you turned around and you took this sport and you were able to make it a confidence builder of, I can do this. I found people that I belong with. And and this gives me purpose to see that, hey, look, I really am strong. I can do anything. I can do anything I want to, and I can make it on my own, and I can learn, and I can make friends, and I can be a better person because of the simple fact of I believe in myself to think that I'm strong enough to do this.
Yeah.
And and that to me is everything. That's why I don't care if it's a guy, a friend of mine named Doug, he did a powerlifting meet last year with pretty much no training, but he just jumped into it, and he's a 280-pound man who had a 270-pound squat.
Yeah.
I know, but he's he's going to compete in a few months and hit 500. Yeah. After some training, and it's just, he believes in himself now, and that's the biggest thing that strength sports does for people. I don't think they realize the confidence that it gives.
Man, it's one of the greatest educational tools in the world ever. I could not imagine what direction my life would have taken if I'd never found, weightlifting, weight training, and then of course, we'll just say weightlifting, and then that transitioned into eventually competing in strength sports. But seriously, if I'd never gotten involved in weightlifting, I don't know how my life would have ended up. I really don't. It's given me everything that I value and appreciate the most has come from, in some shape or form, from training.
That's awesome, man. That's why we love it. That's why we do it.
I know, caveat your story about Benita. Last time I saw her was at Mammoth in January, and she was looking better, because you've been training about 6 months before that. But seeing her today, she was a different person.
Yeah.
She walked more upright. She held her head up higher. She just kind of announced herself when she came into the room without even really doing it. She looked great. Everything is coming together for her, and she may or may not see that every day, but today I saw it after a 6 month reprieve.
Yeah.
And go, wow, that's an amazing change, and it's really, really good that she was able to do that, and she stuck with it, because you might not see the change because you see her every day too, but she's completely different than she was 6 months ago.
That's awesome.
So she's doing really, really good. Super proud of her.
And we had a new guy today, Pew. So it's it was a good day.
And in 6 months, when I see him again, I'm like, hey, was that
That's the guy who was out back throwing up when he first walked in. Yeah.
The guy that was wearing that wet shirt? Yeah, that's the one.
It happens to the best of us.
No, I guarantee you, we're going to go to one of us, Pew. I mean, I miss those days of training that hard and stuff, man. I wish I could do it again. I keep saying if they open up, a mid-40s range age bracket for a dude with a bad heart, I'm ready to compete. Let's go.
I'll be your platform helper, man.
Man, thank you, brother.
Let me be the first one to sign on for that job, man.
Oh, good. So I can carry both of you guys. Awesome.
No doubt.
Gee, thanks.
It took me 3 minutes to get out of the chair a while ago.
Well,
you know?
Well, you know, when he's getting ready to be up, you know I won't be able to hear it anyway. So
That's true. That's true. Like, hey, Chad, he's going now. Wait, I didn't hear that. Wait, what happened?
Oh, is it my time?
Yeah, you'll be over there petting a cat or something somewhere.
And you were going to say something about a 5 minute. I'll be there in 5 minutes.
that's man. That's the day's story.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This segment has been brought to you by Gorilla Strength Equipment. They build the equipment that we all use. They take great pride in what they do and believe wholeheartedly that things worth doing are worth doing right. Everything they send out, they're proud of, and every single item that comes out of that shop has a lifetime warranty. Just as important as producing heavy-duty quality equipment is providing top-notch customer service. Their number one purpose in life is to make a difference by helping people. Their goal is not to make a transaction with a customer. That doesn't mean shit. It's to create relationships, build friendships, and help people achieve their goals. The home gym craze is really just gone crazy. People aren't wanting to go pay 40, 50, 60, 70 bucks, to go to a gym and spend, several hours of their life there. They're trying to do it in their home. They're trying to do it in the garage, trying to do it in the basement. They're just trying to get it done. So this is a place you want to go to. Gorilla Strength Equipment will make just about anything. The creative mind that David Dennis has is unfathomable. I've helped him design stuff myself for strongman events. You might have seen our equipment at Mammoth Strength Challenge. You might have seen it at Kentucky Strongest. You might have seen it at the Arnold Amateur World Championships. Last year, we just used the Bubba bar as the axle deadlift for that championship. Now, we were able to load that bar up to over 700 pounds. There was no flex. None whatsoever. And we still had enough room to put another 400 pounds of bumper plates on there. See, they make great stuff. You need it. I need it. I use them all the time. I've got hubs, I've got axles, I've got bars, I've got grip stuff. Everything that you could ever need from Gorilla Strength is there. You need to contact them and let them know. Now, we're running a special deal for you. If you're listening to this podcast, if you use the coupon code H2OCAST, that's H2OCAST, when you do your checkout, you can get a Bubba bar at the low price of $120. That's shipped. That's everything included. That's called you spend $120 and it's going to get delivered to your house. That is fantastic. You're not going to find another deal like that. Now, these are the same bars that we used at the Arnold Championships, the Amateur World Championships. We use these bars. They're fantastic. So if you go online, you go to gorillastrength.us and you use the coupon code H2OCAST, it's H2OCAST, then you can get these very, very, very special bars for only $120 shipped to your house. Normally they're $150, so you're getting $30 off. This is a huge discount, everybody. Go and check out David Dennis at gorillastrength.us.
I don't know anything about this story.
All right, so this story is the Chad 5-minute rule. And there's a rule with Chad that if you tell him to be somewhere, he's going to tell you he's going to be there in 5 minutes. It doesn't matter where he's at, what he's doing. He was coming to one of my shows, and I was like, hey, man, it's Friday. What time you plan on getting here? It's like Friday morning. He says, man, I'm leaving here in 5 minutes. I said, okay, it's Friday morning. You're going to leave there in like 5 minutes, so you're 8 hours away. Cool, I'll plan for you to be here like at 6. He's like, yeah, that sounds good. 6 o'clock rolls around. I call Chad, hey, man, where you at? You're still on the road? You some traffic? No, man. I'm leaving here in about 5 minutes. And I thought to myself, wait a minute. Leaving here? Are you leaving a rest area, like a truck stop? No, I'm going to leave the house in like 5 more minutes. I was like, wait a minute. I talked to you 8 hours ago. You haven't left the house yet? No, man. I'm leaving here in 5 minutes. I said, okay. I see how this is going. So, Chad shows up at my house, I think about 1 in the morning. Calls me first, lets me know he's coming. He gets in, and everything happens. And we go to the show, we do everything else. And then I realized something, that you are 5 minutes away from everything at all times. It doesn't matter where you're at. If you got to go to Russia tomorrow, man, I'm gonna be there in 5 minutes. That's how long it is.
Well, let's preface this by saying how many times through this podcast have I said, Dave, Bull, I have no concept of time.
No concept.
No concept.
So and that's just proof that I'm not a liar because I have no concept of time.
Yeah.
Well, it literally is 5 minutes from sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
I'll
not
be
the
there
time
in
set.
5 minutes. 5 minutes before I'm there.
Now let's focus on the important thing, Dave. I'm always there.
That's true.
That's
true.
At the end of the day,
That's all that really matters.
that's all that matters. Nobody forgets that or remembers that. Hey, Chad was 5 minutes late for this, but they remember that I was there.
Right. So we had a show yesterday. We had 5th annual Iron Warrior Silky Strongest Man, and Chad came out to be my celebrity judge.
Yes.
And I knew when the contest started because I'm the one running the contest. I know exactly what times need to be met. And Chad asked, said, man, what time do I need to be there? I said, you got to be there at 11 o'clock. That's when we're starting. Contest didn't start till noon because I knew that 5 minutes was going to happen. And so he showed up at 11:51.
You told me noon.
Noon your time. That's because it was on your phone, and your phone didn't change over. That's why I told you noon your time.
Okay.
Because I figured
But I thought you meant noon your time.
it really was. But I still wanted you there a little bit earlier than on time. Early is on time is late. Because I know that 5 minutes is the way it always goes. But that's the gist of it. So it's even gone to the point that don't you have an advance directive for your funeral?
Yeah, this is good, man. This is my one final gotcha. So, we all know that time's coming. But wherever I die, we'll just say, and my body's getting cremated. Well, wherever do like the memorial service or whatever, I like to say, all right, well, service starts at 6. But I'm going to get y'all one last time because I'm going to have like advanced director say, hey, look, tell them 6 o'clock. But don't bring my ashes in until at least 6:15. So that's like, even beyond the grave, I got you one last time, man.
Absolutely. That's the way it has to go. So we've talked a lot about strength sports and like what it means to all of us. But you guys haven't always done well. Bull has always been in strength sports since birth, I think. He came out bench pressing. But Chad, you weren't always in strength sports.
No, man, no.
Not
I was
Highland Games, not anything else.
Not
What
even
did you do
that,
before
man.
that? Let's talk about the origin story that is Chad Clark and sports.
Well, it's a unique story, to say the least. And he goes back, as a kid, played like all the rec league stuff, rec league soccer, wrestled a little bit in junior high, and then I found skateboarding. And little did I know at the time when I discovered it, and there's going to be a really good tie-in here in a bit, but little did I know when I discovered it that I would ever be any good at it. It was just something I did as fun. I enjoyed it.
Now, how old were you when you found skateboarding?
Damn.
With your awesome concept of time.
Yeah, I had no concept of time, Dave. Like 8th grade, so whoever I was,
13,
13, 14, yeah.
somewhere around there.
Somewhere around there, okay.
Somewhere around there. Have no concept of time.
A good punk kid age. Yeah.
And that's exactly what it was, man. It was all about, skateboarding, going to record shops, buying my punk rock and hardcore records, going to shows. And that kind of morphed into, all right, hey, I'm pretty good at this. So then you kind of go on the contest circuits and stuff. Well, next thing you know, you're traveling places, doing exactly what we do now. It's like, you're traveling, you're meeting people, you're making friends in these big cities, and you kind of, make your own network. Anyway, the years go by doing that, and I actually got sponsored. I was actually putting an amateur East Coast promotional type video showing up and coming town from the East Coast. It's called Quiet Storm.
And this is back in the day when they did everything on VHS.
Yeah, VHS tapes.
And reel to reels? Were you on any of
those? I'm not that old.
Was all of this in color, or was that?
It was in color. It was in color. But anyway, so I got sponsored, and it was something I never really wanted to happen. It just happened. I just happened to be good, I guess, for lack of a better term. And I probably did that for about 2 more years. And honestly, it took something that I really loved and enjoyed, and it just ruined the whole thing for me. You know, now it's like, you know, and you think that when you finally achieve like that level, like, all right, this is what everybody wants. Well, you know, what everybody wanted was not for me. Because at that point, it was no longer fun. You have the pressures of, you know, calling into, you know, the company that sponsors you, and they're asking you, hey, you know, what new tricks are you doing now? You know, this, that, and the other. And whatever you tell them, they'll say, all right, well, we really like to see you do that down like 3 steps, or down 6 steps, or, you know, off a ledge. And then it just increases the pressure. I'm like, hey, man, I got this because it was fun. And, you know, I made my friends through this. Once it became not fun, you know, I did something that most people don't do, and I just walked away from it. I was like, all right, I'm done. It's not fun anymore. At that time, one of my best friends from growing up, this guy Craig Feathers. We'd always skated together and stuff. Well, he got into weightlifting, and so he invited me, you know, over to, you know, train with him a couple times, and, you know, he took me down to like the local YMCA, and that bug kind of bit me, you know, and from there it just kind of transitioned to, again, you know, I was a very small kid growing up. I graduated high school at, you know, whopping 5'11" tall and literally 130 pounds.
I remember 130 pounds.
You know,
2nd grade was a good time for me.
You know, so I mean, I was a little kid. You know, as a full blown adult, you know, I was that tiny. But I liked working out. I liked the process, and again, kind of like what we're talking about. I like seeing, you know, the gains come, and the you know, the improved confidence and things, and everything that went with it. You know, we'll say I was like around like the time I was like 20, 21. You know, my one regret, I don't have a lot of regrets. One is, from that time until the age of 33, I never competed. Now, for the bulk of those years, I was always that guy. You know, the guy was, oh, I'm gonna do a comp.
Getting ready for a meet.
Get ready to do a meet, man. You know, getting ready. But I never would sit in the money, man. And then finally one day I was like, man, fuck it. I gotta do this. I gotta do this for myself. I have to prove that I can do it. And called up a guy that's seen running meets, John Shiflett, who is a saint of a man, based there out there in Virginia. And we were talking about earlier about people that you look up to and influence you from the get-go, and you still find as an inspiration. John Shiflett's one of those guys. He is selfless to the end. Done so much for string sports in the state of Virginia for decades. And call him up, talk to him. He's like, man, just go ahead and sign up. You know, come on up. So that's what I did. First meet was a USAPL meet. Little did I know.
There might be some animosity there.
Well, I mean, I just don't want to walk nothing out.
There is that part. Yeah.
Little did I know, another guy that I would see in the warm-up room that day was a monster of a man. And
his name was Bull.
And it was not Bull, but the letters are similar. No, that guy was Bill Gillespie.
Oh, wow.
And Bill Gillespie, at the time, I just thought, wow, man, who's this huge dude? I knew the name Bill Gillespie, but I did not know that's who that was at the time. But this guy sat in a chair and from the warm-up platform, coaching every single athlete up through the warm-ups, giving them tips to everybody, making everybody better. And again, that made a huge and lasting impression on me. And also that day, I met up with the powerlifting team from the Marine Corps, and they were fresh out of sandbox. And they talked to me. They said, "Man, is this your first meeting?" I said, "Yeah." They said, "Chad, hang with us. You know, we'll walk you through. You're now part of our team." And that, in a nutshell, was my real true introduction to string sports and competing. And from there, you know, once you're, be it the platform, be it the Strongman Arena, be it the Highland Games, once you catch that buzz, you know, for me, when that buzz hit, it hit hard. It was just something that's like, man, I always want to be a part of this. There's nothing like that feeling of being out there on the platform or being out there in the field competing and stuff. That's my one regret, man. Is I wish I'd started all this, years and years earlier. And I was even the guy, I would go to meets with people and be like their handler, their liftoff guy, and things like that. But just didn't compete till I was 33, and that's my regret, man.
On the plus side, you were really strong then. You'd been getting ready for a meet for
I
so
know,
long.
yeah.
I mean, you were ready.
So when did you start Highland Games? When did that come about?
So I did powerlifting for a couple of years. And I thought, man, this is the greatest thing ever. And I'm not disrespecting any powerlifters. I know Bull's background is powerlifting and stuff. And I loved it. But then I had a couple buddies that threw. And they're always like, man, Chad, why don't you come out, give it a shot. Yeah, I did. I was like, it's kind of okay. It's kind of fun. And then I went out again. I'm like, yeah, it's a lot of fun. And then you go to an actual games. And then once you get to compete on that athletic field, where you're here, not only are you hearing and seeing things, but you're literally feeling things. Like you can feel like that drone of the bagpipes, the band's playing. So like at that point, you're kind of like sensory overload. You got large crowds cheering for you and everything. You're out there. You are the entertainment. It was just such a rush. And, I fell in love with it. Again, the friends I made in that, stuck with me all through the years. No matter what else I get involved into, I still always have Highland Games in my background. That's been like the one constant over like the last 15 years is, Highland Games and the people and friendships I made through that. Fast forward, some got involved. I always had the hindsight, even back then. A lot of the guys are now passed away, but they're all from a judge's clinic. This may have been maybe back 2009 or so. I can't remember. But anyway, I signed up for that because I knew it's like, all right, no matter what I do in my life, I always want to be able to find some way to be involved in strength sports. And I thought, all right, well, way down the road, maybe I'll use this information, maybe I won't. Well, it's proved to be valuable. I've worked, got to work a lot of events over the years and stuff, and it's served me well as well. But again, I'll be 47 next month. Not that that's old, but I just always want to be involved. Like I said, once you catch that buzz of being out there doing stuff, then you make those bonds with people, and you just don't want to stop, man.
Right. You have a few accolades to your credit, also for you still compete regularly each year. How many are you doing this year?
This has been a down year, man. Last year I did like 10.
Yeah.
This year I've only done one. One's unsanctioned strongman comp, and then I got another Highlander I'll go do. Possibly another strongman corp event up in Maryland, but my focus kind of changed some. Last year I got to go to Scotland, which was a dream come true. I got to lift a lot of the historic manhood stones, and that was just the most amazing experience I ever had. I can't say until you do something like that, you just don't really get it. To go somewhere, fly overseas, to go lift these stones that people have been lifting for literally hundreds of years to test and prove their manhood. So I've always been a fan of history. So to me, and again, it goes back to reading the book, Stones of Strength by Steve Jeck and Peter Martin. I never thought I'd get to do any of this stuff, man.
Yeah.
And then, whether I'm too stupid to know any better or whatever, here I am years and years later getting to do a lot of stuff that, one time I was daydreaming about. I think it goes back to, it's like, never give up on your dreams, man. But back to the subject, I started doing the stone lifting. I went back earlier this year, and I'm going to try to go back again in October is the plan, to go and lift more stones. And that just became, kind of took the place of contest a little bit for me and stuff. Still train hard, but that's my goal now. So, hey, I just want to travel and, do these stones, see other countries, meet people, make friends, travel, the whole 9 yards.
Absolutely. I know for me personally, because of your stone stories, I'm going to go to Iceland. One, to do the podcast is a primary reason, but other things are I want to lift Husafell stone. I know it's a big beast of a stone, but I want to be able to say that I've lifted it. And then all the other manhood stones that Iceland has. Recently on Netflix, they had that show that came out. Was it Full Strong?
Full Starker.
Yeah, which means full strong.
Yeah.
That's the only way I can remember it, because I can't say anything in their language. It's a whole bunch of consonants and vowels, and I don't know what the hell they say. So I'm going to hopefully try to learn some of that, but I want to go lift as many of those stones as possible, because who always gets that kind of chance.
Hey, exactly, man.
And so it was a lot of your trips to Scotland and all the other things you've been able to do that was like, Dave, get off your ass and go do something.
Yeah.
But I'm going to take this podcast with me.
Yeah, and like we talk about all the time, man, dude, I'm so glad that, that you're able now to go do that. Again, life's short, man. And if you're in the situation where you can go do things like what what I've done and what you're going to do, I mean, I encourage you. And the other thing is, when you go lift those stones, you're putting your name in the history book. You're lifting, like, say, for example, you do the Husafil. You're lifting the same one that, Hathor lifted, Peter Goodmanson. All these heroes of ours, or people that we've looked up to in string sports, they've all went to Iceland and done that one stone. Same way with, like, the Ember Stone in Scotland. Dude, I'm a nobody. But, man, you open up that book, and for people that don't know, when you lift the Ember Stone,
how much does the Ember Stone weigh?
It's basically an egg, a granite egg, I believe it's granite, that weighs right at 268 pounds.
Okay.
But it's very odd. It's not like any other Atlas stone you've ever done. And even when you talk with the late June, who the stone rests at her house now, on her property. According to June, only about 1 in 10 people that come out of there actually are able to lift it.
Is it like super slick, or like what's the deal?
It's just like an egg. It's just, when you see it, when you see it from distance, you'll know that's the Ember Stone. It's that iconic of a stone. But it's just very odd to lift. But once you lift it, you can go inside, and I was very fortunate. June fixed. She had little cookies for me, and some milk and tea. And I can always say, it's like that's one of the best little meals I had, because that was something I always wanted to do. I set out to do it. I did it. I put my name in the book, and then when I opened up that book, man, there's a list of all these names of other people. Same with so many of my other friends from Strongman, from Highland Games. They're right there in that book. So and I'm a fan of stuff, so I'm like taking pictures of it. I send it my buddies, like, hey, like Lance King over in Australia and stuff. Like, Lance, man, it's like, how cool is this? Like, I'm in the same book with you. Luke Reynolds, another famous Australian strongman. I got to be in the same book as him. But all these people, you look up to and respect for their accomplishments and strength. It's like, man, it's like, now your name's in that book too. And for me, that meant a lot. So when you go to Iceland, man, I'm pulling for you to, leave your mark on history too, man. Lift the Husafil stone.
If she would have gave me milk and cookies from the start, I would have picked it up.
It was.
I mean, like if she would have told me, "Hey, I will give you milk and cookies if you can pick this up," I would have got stronger.
I forgot where this story was going. Let me tell you this. So that was one of the best milk and cookies. It was tea with a splash of milk, the British way. Cookies. One of the other best meals I ever had was a hot dog in Hungary.
Oh, Lord.
And why do you say it was best meal? Again, because 3 of my athletes that finished on the podium bought me that hot dog. Like, Chad, you got to take care of yourself. We know you've been screaming and over caffeinated all day and pulling for us. So bought me this hot dog.
Wait. They want to take care of you, so they get you a hot dog.
Look, I'm not going to go into hot dog stories because in the world of hot dogs, the Icelandic hot dog reigns supreme. All y'all remember that. It's worth the trip to Iceland to go eat hot dogs. But the Hungarian hot dog is of very high standards as well. And somebody asked...
So is it like a bratwurst, or is it like Oscar Mayer?
It's good. Shut up, don't ruin my story.
Does it have hot dog water? Like, is it...
So, they gave me this hot dog. Like, oh man, this is... They said, Chad, what does that taste like? I said, it tastes like victory. Because my 3 athletes, had won. They had done something that made me so proud, and then they got me a hot dog to boot. And that was probably one of the greatest meals I ever had. I probably had a hot dog and a Coke, but to me, fuck it, man, I was on top of the world.
That's awesome. It's the little things, guys.
It is, man. It's little things that all add up, man, and make life, the awesome experience that it is, man.
Things like this, now, sitting around the table, bullshitting, having just a really, really good time. That's really all that matters anymore. You know, I've seen people lift the biggest things in the entire world, and yeah, they're cool. But going to dinner with those people afterwards and hearing them tell the stories of how much it sucked.
Well, I mean, that's one thing about it. I mean, the only difference between us having a regular visit and now is a microphone.
Yeah,
it's the same thing happens.
Same damn stuff, man.
And that's why I do this, you know, to immortalize this and these conversations, because we're not all going to be here forever, but these great times should be.
Yeah.
This should live on forever. Like your pictures, if we finally get them into a cloud and off of your phone, those will live on forever.
Yeah,
People can look back and go.
You can even share it where people can people can see it. You know,
That's a crazy idea, I know, but it's a possibility. And you know, people.
Dave, as I've said before, I have no concept of time or technology.
We'll set you up because a Galaxy S7, bruh, we're gonna get you a new phone.
I think I'm like the 10 now.
Yeah, I'm on the 10. I'm pretty sure that's close to the iPhone 1. I think that's about where you're at. So, if we get you upgraded with some technology where you can hear podcasts, then you might be doing a little bit better. So,
Awesome.
well, all right, guys. I think it's about time for Chad to be 5 minutes late for something.
Yes.
So we're
It's called a 7.5 hour drive home, Dave.
Oh, well, there is that. There's that.
There is that.
But we both drive quite a bit. We're
Yes,
always
yes,
on the
we do.
road, so we understand each other's pain and what podcasts mean to a drive. Well, you don't, because you just listen to old school radio.
No, I don't, man. I listen to stuff.
You have that ham radio on AM in your car, so it's all right. But let's go ahead and just kind of cut it out here. So, Chad, if anybody wants to be able to find you, as far as you helping them run a show because you have all this time on your hands, how are they going to do that? Do they need to call you? They need to text you? They need to email you? How do they need to do that?
Man, as I always say, well, two things I always say. One, I'm always glad to help people out. I guess need to follow that with I have no concept of time. So sometimes it'll be a little bit slow getting back, but I am always glad to help people out. And the easiest way to find me is I'm not, I don't have my own website or things like that. Just, Facebook, Instagram,
You use Instagram?
I do use Instagram.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm kind of astonished. It's like my dad using Instagram.
Yeah,
That's kind of crazy.
But lifter thrower, I can't remember if it's Chad Clark lifter thrower or lifter thrower Chad Clark.
So
I guess that's bad. I don't even know my own Instagram thing.
just search it, I guess, is the
But
plan. Okay.
when you see my face, a face made for radio, you'll realize, oh yeah, it's that guy.
Well, one thing that is always happening when I see your face anywhere is you're smiling.
No, usually
So,
we're out friends.
Yeah,
So that's
either in person or in photos or videos, you're always smiling. Or we, drive it to the Shell station and there's a dog there. And I saw the dog and I was like, oh shit, there's a dog.
all right, y'all out there.
Not because
No,
I'm afraid of him. Because I knew that Chad was going to talk to this lady for 25 minutes about a dog.
it was a puppy.
Oh, that gets even better.
so even better.
It was a
yeah.
blue heeler puppy, and I saw it, and I was like, hey, and then I had to talk to her. It was one of the things like you have to pet the puppy, you have to talk to the owner. She does. She was involved in rescue organizations. I've always been involved in rescue organizations. We immediately bonded. Again, it was a puppy, man. It was a puppy, Dave.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the reason why we were 5 minutes late where we were going.
We had no concept of time, and we never told Bull what time we'd be here anyway.
No.
It was just like, hey, Bull, we'll see you this weekend.
Well, I knew that ahead of time, so I didn't call Bull until I knew we were leaving to head south and know exactly where he's at, so we didn't, get him excited. And Bull, where can everybody find you and Bull Strong Apparel? How do people get in touch with Bull?
Well, it's Bull Strong Apparel at Instagram, so at Bull Strong Apparel, and then I'm like Strong Like Bull _33, and then I think my name on Facebook is like Bull Just Be Fit. Yeah. So
Bull Just Be Fit. Yeah.
Had to throw the gym in there.
You got to. The gym is a big part of who you are, and it's a big reason is that how I met you too. So the gym is a big part of this town and everything that you've done for it. So I'm gonna take this time to thank you guys so much for sitting down with me and having a good time, man. Just
That's fun, dude.
I appreciate it. I'm glad I got to see all this.
we're here for a good time. We ain't here for a long time.
Yeah, and like I said, man, there was no way I was going to come to Bowling Green and be like, all right, man, Davis, like we got to go see Bull, man. That was mandatory.
I think that was more primary for your trip than the show was. Because you were like, man, I gotta go see Bull. Like, well, this is what we're doing for the show. He's like, man, I don't care. I gotta go see Bull.
Well, I'm so glad. And now I'm going to, I got $20 that says you still can't ollie. So I got a skateboard downstairs. Let's go do that.
No, hey, your $20. Yeah, your $20 is safe, dude. Any skills, balance, and coordination I once had as a skateboarder, I lost. That's like, don't use it, you lose it.
Yeah,
that's true.
It's true.
Yeah.
But if we can get you to Ollie, though, I will.
That'll be video gold.
It's not gonna happen. Look, man.
I think you can wear your Tiger Snatch T-shirt, and we can see an Ollie come out of you somehow.
It's not gonna happen.
I can upload that video. You're right. Yeah, we can do that.
Man.
We can make that
I
happen.
can break your hip, Dave.
All right. Well, thank you guys. Love
Thank you,
both.
man.
And be good or be good at it.
Hey guys, hope you enjoyed the episode. Episode 4, Sitting with Bull and Chad, has been brought to you by Bull Strong Apparel. You can find Bull Strong Apparel at bull-strong.com. Also, you can hit them up on Instagram, Facebook at Bull Strong Apparel. And also, you can hit up Chris Bull Griffin at Bull Just Be Fit on Facebook to get all of your apparel needs taken care of. This guy takes all of the money that he makes from these shirts and it goes right back to his powerlifting team. It's not going in his pocket. He's not trying to get rich. He gives this stuff away to worthy athletes that are up-and-comers in the world. For all of you out there that have ever lifted, you know it's an expensive hobby. It's hard to afford hotel rooms and entry fees and plane tickets and everything else. But Bull Strong Apparel makes that happen for a few athletes. Well, really, several athletes. He does it for everybody that's on his team. And it's fantastic what he's able to give back. So get yourself an awesome t-shirt. It's awesome fabric. I'm wearing one right now. And really, there's not much better than a shirt that tells you, don't suck.